Hey everyone, Josh here. Do you have a story to tell? In this APW live video, we're going to take a look at how to create original animation characters, then dive into storyboarding them. So stay tuned, get your sketchbook ready, pencils, erasers, because we're going to be drawing. And as always, thank you for watching. For more APW live videos, subscribe to our channel. Okay, so our first exercise, like what Vince mentioned, is with characters. We're just going to be very creative. So it's going to exercise your creative thinking and creative drawing because we're going to have a visual prompt and we're going to have to design a character based off of that visual prompt. So I'm going to go ahead and share my Photoshop screen. So right here, this is a little shape. I'm marking like a square shape with a circular piece cut out. We're actually going to take this and we're going to turn that into a character. We're going to do this several times. And when these are going to just be 3 minutes long. Okay. So I'm gonna do one and then you guys can do along with me. So can you guys see my markings? Okay, excellent. So with this exercise, I'm just going to explain a little bit before you guys draw. You want to make sure that you keep your drawing loose. So don't tighten up because we only have 3 minutes. You don't want to tighten up your drawing or go into details. Think about making big lines, big strokes, simple shapes, right? I know it could be pretty intimidating to see something like this right here and trying to make a character out of that. And when you stay loose, it only opens up opportunities for you, right? So for example, let's say if I'm making a mark and I'm like, oh, that mark, I didn't like that mark. But then all of a sudden I see, oh, that could be a mouth or that could be um, someone's eyes, right? So just stay loose so that way you're more open to opportunities or directions that you can go in with this design, okay? I'm actually going to set my timer, so give me 1 second. We're going to go 3 minutes on this, okay? It's best to keep it simple. So try not to go into too much detail, like, for example, drawing little hairs on the character, or let's say you're drawing like all the little toenails. I mean, if it requires, but you just want to keep the character very simple as you're doing this, okay? So make sure you have your sketchbook handy. And I think someone just joined us. So for those of you guys that are just joining right now, just make sure you have your sketchbook handy. We're going to get into a character exercise that involves us drawing a character based off a visual prompt, okay? So I'm going to set my timer right now. So let's go ahead and redraw this shape. And that's going to be the first bit of this exercise. Okay, and now when you redraw this shape, you're going to have you can add things to the shape, you can subtract things to the shape. It's open to possibilities, okay? So right here, I have my shape. I'm just going to make this a little bit smaller. And let's go. Let's start designing. So you guys can draw something based off of this shape. Again, keep it loose. Try not to focus on the detail. Just keep the shapes big and loose, okay? Right? This is just gonna loosen us up. Right? Don't worry about how messy the drawing is getting. Right? And if you notice, my drawing is fairly We have a minute left.
So for anybody who's kind of new to this whole process, while you're working on your own drawing, if when you're done, you'll have a chance to sort of maybe glance up to the screen and have a look at the kind of thing that Josh is doing, and what you can get from that is that you'll notice that Josh is he's kind of moving all over. He's not just making one part of it, such as the eyes, make them perfect, and then moving on to some other portion and making that perfect. There's a part of this process where you observe the shape, and then you just visualize what kind of an animation character you see within that shape. Whoops. Then you start to fill it in bit by bit by bit. What does it look like? What kind of a form does the head have? What kind of a form does the body have, and so on. And at a certain point, it takes on a life of its own. So I guess there's no right and wrong answer to this. And
no right or wrong answer. You are pretty much going with the flow of things. Right, I'm staying loose. I'm moving from one part into the next, and there's a key word here: gestural. I'm staying very gestural to this drawing. Right, I'm going into details. I'm just staying loose. Like if you have this crocodile or dinosaur-esque kind of character, and building it all as one. Okay, so I'm letting it all kind of emerge. Okay.
Your character, Josh, is undergoing a thought process. It's very simple. It's, what if I turned around?
Yeah. Hey, I can turn my head now.
That's right. I can turn my head.
But that was time, right? And you can see how I took this shape. So the shape right here. And I saw that as a body, like a head and a body. Right? Right? Have some eyes that are above, and I added something on. But as you're seeing when I'm drawing, I'm working very loose. And that's what I mean about staying loose. I'm not getting stuck on the details. I'm moving around. Right? I'm letting the character emerge, not trying to force anything. Right? And that's the goal of this exercise. Being open to possibilities, letting the character just slowly emerge. But oftentimes we get stuck in drawing the same thing, the same kind of characters. We have creative habits that we usually go back to. And with this exercise, we kind of get out of that, because now we have something, we have a shape, and we got to do something with that shape. Whether it's use the shape to draw a character with a big hat, right? So let's say if that was the hat right there, and this is like the nose, and we have some sort of farmer character. I don't know. Or we have a dinosaur, or whatever you guys are creating, right? So this is one of 4 characters. So we're actually going to do this exercise again. Okay, so flip your page of your sketchbook. All right, so everyone flip their page. I'll give you guys a little second or two to get ready. And this is going to be our second shape right here, okay? I'm going to go ahead and start to draw this shape, and you guys as well can start to draw this shape in your sketchbook. And when you're drawing this shape, keep it a little bit lighter, right? Because you're going to go over top of it. You're going to draw over top of it. You may change things around here and there. So just keep this shape fairly light in your sketchbook. I'm actually going to make it a bit bigger for you guys just so you can see. There you go. And I want to set my timer and we're going to do another one. Okay. So let's go ahead and start. So start by redrawing the shape. And that's okay if it's not perfect, the shape, if it doesn't look exactly alike, that's okay. Um, we just want to take the impression, the gesture of the shape. So what is the shape initially doing? Okay. All right. And now let's start. So let's start by taking this and drawing a character out of it.
Now, another way to look at this, right, is that sometimes you are gonna be given shapes that have angles, straight lines and angles, and then you'll have a shape, you'll have a mark such as this. Um, Not so many straight lines, and you can tell it was drawn with a marker, and you can tell that where the marker breaks up, it was drawn very quickly. So there's the element of energy. The direction of that energy is something that you can use, what's probably going to happen is it's going to inspire something within you, maybe without you even knowing it. But those are the factors that we're going to be looking at. The actual shape, before it was almost like a rectangular shape with a little hole cut out of it on the side. This time, this almost looks like a bit of handwriting or calligraphy or something. It's got clear movement. So, look what Josh is doing here, using those two big. It almost looks like two bananas or something, for parts of a face, a wide open mouth, a happy little creature.
Some sort of frog-esque creature. I have no idea. It just looked like something, to me, it looked like something that was really enthusiastic about, I don't know, something that they see. Right? And feel free to change the shapes to add things. Like for example, with this line right here, it came all the way into this cheek part, but I added a little bit of the mouth right here. So feel free to add things to the shape, things that you need. Maybe you see this shape as a head, and then you're like, I want to add a little bit of a body. We still have 1 minute left. So if you guys want to add something to your shape, or let's say if you just have a head, you can add something. I think I'm gonna. It's a performer frog or some sort of creature. And that was time. So that was 3 minutes. I actually added, so that was 4 minutes. I just added 1 minute more. So when I'm talking, you guys, when you guys are not drawing, you're listening. You have a little bit more time, and it's not taken away from you drawing. But notice how I'm seeing simple shapes within this. So if I take this character, I'm just going to highlight one thing. So if you guys can draw and listen up as well. But let's see here. I'm noticing a big shape. So I'm not going to small details here. I'm seeing a large shape, right? So this character's head is their body. Not saying you have to do that, right? But I'm keeping it very simple as I'm working. Very, very simple. Right? So I see this. And this shape right here, that can be, I'm sure you guys have many different ideas and characters that you were designing, right? If you look at this shape can pretty much be anything that you imagine. Okay. All right. So we have two more. And then once we're done with this exercise right here, I'm going to get you guys to present your characters. So you eat one, not one by one, but each of you guys will have the opportunity, if you guys will like, to show your character, like one character that you really enjoy. Okay. So give me 1 second.
These random shapes, by the way, they are part of a kind of an event that we used to hold, and it was 14 of these in 14 days, 14 characters in 14 days. And every day, one of these was uploaded somewhere, Instagram, Facebook, wherever. And then everybody would just make their own version and either hashtag or, in the case of Facebook, put their drawing into the comments. And it was very, very interesting because, like, I'm looking at the chat right now. People are putting up, there's some birds and there's some things, and people get really, they go in different directions, and you yourself have no idea where somebody else is going. And then when you see it, it builds on the effectiveness of just this as an exercise. Go ahead, Josh.
All right. Well, let's go with our next shape. Hope you guys are enjoying the exercise so far. I know it presents a little bit of a challenge, but try your best. Let's say if you're having a hard time, let's just try your best. Characters are always meant to be fun when drawing, right? I enjoy drawing characters, coming up with characters, drawing funny characters, simple characters. So whenever I do this exercise with my class or do this exercise on my own, I always have a good time because the characters, you never know what you're gonna get. Right? You may get a frog, performing with a cane, or you may get a dinosaur, or who knows, some strange wizard with a hat, right? So let's go ahead and do this shape right here. So this is our third shape, and I set my timer. So let's go ahead and start to draw this shape right here. Start by drawing the shape. So notice how this shape right here, this shape is more enclosed. The last shape that we've drawn was pretty much like a squiggle, like a line. There was not really, wasn't present that there was an enclosed shape. Now this shape we have, if you look at it, we have like a rectangular shape with a circular shape on the front. Presents a little bit of a different challenge here. Notice how I'm just moving my pencil around, or my tool, I guess I could say. Just trying to see where opportunities or where things lead me. Oh, there's our lines. Let's see. Actually, and if something comes up as you're drawing, you can just change it. You have 1 minute left. Sometimes you just want to keep going. Okay. And that's our third character.
That's a very
So,
angry character.
yeah, maybe they got a text saying from their boss saying, "Get to work," or maybe it's they're like a teenager and the parent is telling them, "You better be at school" or something, and they're just really annoyed. I don't know, but you don't know what you come up with. You come up with random things, and then you just put stories to them, right? um, there we go. Just gonna. Yeah. So with this character, and one thing I'll just talk about before we go on to the next character. With this character right here, I um I had the character looking off in that direction, and as I developed it, I decided to change it and make them hold the phone and maybe looking down towards their phone, right? So feel free to be open to the possibility of change. Okay, so let's say if you're drawing the character and you want to take it in a different direction, then by all means, if there's time, take it in a different direction. The point of this exercise, and well, actually, one thing with this exercise is being able to stay flexible, right? Go with the flow of things. So, for example, um, let's say you're drawing this, and I'm like, oh, his mouth. Maybe now his mouth is open, right? Right. So feel free to be open and flexible as doing this. Okay, so that way you're not stuck in like just concrete decisions. Keep your decisions flexible. Keep your decisions open. Okay. All right. So I'm gonna put that away. And then you guys, if there's anyone that wants to design some characters afterwards or show their characters afterwards, you guys may. So
Oh, there's a nice bunch of characters in the chat here. So once we're through this section, let's have a look. Let's have a look and see what people have come up with.
okay, so we have this shape right here. We have this shape, which is pretty much a square and a circle put together. With like this shape that to me looked like someone laughing, but to others it made it look like something different. And then we had this rectangular shape. Notice the difference of the shapes right here, actually. I'm going to bring up two of the shapes. How this shape is a rectangle with a circle added on, and this shape is pretty much like a square shape with a circle minus. right? So we took a circle out of it, right? And we can see that no characters don't have to be just this big shape right here, like a solid shape. It could be a shape that has something removed from it as well. So this is a great simple exercise to introduce anyone that wants to draw characters, anyone that wants to learn characters, right? It's a great way in because it's super simple and it doesn't take that long. You just draw shapes. So sometimes what I'll do, I'm going off not really on a tangent, but I'll just talk to you guys, give you a simple exercise. So let's say you have a sketchbook. You're drawing your sketchbook, and one thing. Let's say if you're sitting down, you're like, oh, I don't know what to draw, and whatever I come up with, I don't like, or you're putting too much pressure on yourself. One thing that could be pretty good. I'm just going to draw the side of the sketchbook. Is filling up a sketchbook with shapes. Right? Just simple shapes, and then taking those simple shapes and turning them into characters. All you need is 30 minutes. So if you have a sketchbook and you're just sitting there and you just want to draw, but you don't know quite what to draw, open your sketchbook, grab a Sharpie or grab a Crayola marker or a crayon or whatever you want to use, um, and fill it up with some shapes. 30 minutes, just go through each shape. Give yourself a timer, 2 minutes per shape, 3 minutes per shape. Let's say if you're, and again, when doing this, it's not about like setting a time and you're forcing yourself to do it, right? It's fun, right? So let's say if you're working on a character and you're like, well, 2 minutes has passed, but I really enjoy working on this character, then go ahead and spend longer, right? Or come back to the character after. So that's just a great exercise that you can do. And we're kind of doing it already, but let's say you at some other point when you're drawing, you just want to do it again. Fill up a sketchbook with shapes and then draw some characters coming out of that shape. Okay. All right. Now let's get going with the last shape. Okay. So our last shape almost looks like a Muppet.
Yeah.
So let's go ahead and redraw this shape right here. All right. So there's a shape. And you notice how now I redrew the shape, but it's not quite exactly like the shape. Right. I'm just taking a gesture of the shape, the initial feeling of the shape, and then turning it into a character. So let's go ahead and do that now. I'm going to set my timer, and we're going to start. I have no idea who this guy is, but he's enjoying a cookie, I guess. Okay. Well, I think we're coming up to time. Give you guys 30 more seconds. Finish up. Let's see how much time we got. So 10 seconds left, everyone. And that's time. So right here we have some monster character enjoying a cookie or just munching on something. Maybe I can, if I was just gonna get some crumbs there on the floor or something, right? But here we have it. We have four characters from four shapes. We have our angry texter right here. We have our monster character, and I'm sure you guys have some great characters. We have our frog, our enthusiastic frog, and we have our dinosaur. Okay. So it's pretty simple. Like the exercise, just take some shapes, draw a character. You notice how these characters are all kind of vastly different. I mean, these two characters are pretty similar with the dinosaur-esque kind of feel. This one maybe it's more alien-like, but you get some really good stuff doing this, right? Stuff that you're not usually always drawing, right? Because sometimes we get into these habits, or I wouldn't say habits. We have our own things that we like to draw, our own, whether we love to draw princess characters or witches or um, we like to draw animalistic characters. Everyone has their things, which is perfectly fine. This exercise is great because it pushes you past that. And then you start to just draw random stuff. And who knows, you may get a character out of it that you really like. I've had students that did this exercise and got portfolio characters out of it. Like they did it a bunch of times, and they're like, I really like this character, this short kind of bodyguard esque character. They're really small, but they look tough, and it worked for them. So I just encourage you guys to just do this exercise. Just take your sketchbook sometime and open it up and draw. Okay, so let's actually take a look at some of your characters. So is there anyone that has or that wants to show their character to the camera? I see we have lots of characters in the chat.
Oh yeah, we got a few. Oh yeah.
Lots
Oh
of
boy.
characters in the chat. And if there's anyone that wants to hold their character up to the screen, you can. So Elijah, let's see.
Oh, okay.
Great.
Yeah. Nice.
Awesome. Love the bird, love the character, the tall character with the tail. Great.
Yes. Okay. Oh, cool. I have to say too that there is something that we are inviting you to do, which you may not even be familiar with. Um, Everyone probably knows about. Sometimes you'll go somewhere and you'll see someone sitting there drawing caricatures of people. Somebody sits down, they make a quick sketch. What we're doing is a form of that. We're taking a shape and then trying to isolate the quality of that shape. If it's big and chunky, or if it's lithe and moves a lot, or there's a certain kind of movement, we're trying to take that and take that quality and make a character. And I have to say, this is a really good way to make an original character because no one's going to see the same thing you see. You can copy characters all day and all night, but no one's ever going to, no one's going to come up with what you have in your creativity. And for you to express that.
It's like a window into your imagination, your subconscious. Right?
Yep.
You draw a character and you see something that someone else didn't see, and someone else sees something that you don't see. Right. And it makes this exercise interesting. Like I really like that character with it's almost like the large head with the shut eye and the large eye. I think that's very interesting. Like I would never have seen that in the shape.
That's
Right?
freaky.
So
Yeah.
I keep them coming. And Elijah, great character. I spotlighted you. Well, Vince was showing other character, but the characters that you had were great. Let me just put it up again. There we go. Nice. Awesome characters. I like the simplicity in the shapes. I like the emotion that you're giving the character. The like one is clearly fed up with their job and just doesn't want to go into work. And the other one looks like they're ready to go to school. They're super excited to, right? So great infusing like
Awesome.
some emotion
That's
into
great.
the character, some expression. That's going to be good because we can take that with us in our next exercise.
Yeah, absolutely. Strong characters are coming out here, like really strong characters. That's the thing. When you give yourself 3 minutes, you don't fuss on the shoelaces. You don't worry about the gloves, or you try and say something about the whole character. And there's a reason actually why Josh is starting off with just a shape as opposed to a word, where you have to go into your imagination and find a concept. With a shape, you see something. So there's a bit of observation. What am I looking at? Is it square? Is it squiggly? Is it round? And so those ideas lend themselves to drawing. You're already visual, right? So you're observing, and then you're visualizing.
And you're making quick decisions.
Yeah, yeah. So the 3 minutes, it's a good thing because it just forces some decisions, and it's hit and miss, isn't it? You don't hit home runs every time, and some of them you just think, okay, I had something good there. I'm not sure what I was going for. And that's the other thing. You can jump into the deep end without even a full knowledge of where it's going. It is, after all, a fun exercise. Like Josh was saying, fill up pages in your sketchbook and then realize that every few of them, you're going to find an interesting idea, and maybe you'll get on a roll,
And like what you said, Elijah, it really does make you think without being intimidated. Yeah, you just go. It's like you go with your gut feeling. Right?
Yeah.
You just have a shape and you just go with the flow of it. And it makes drawing characters less intimidating if you don't know or if you haven't drawn characters before. All right, guys. So this is what we're going to do next. We're going to jump right into the next part. So you guys have 4 characters. We're going to do some simple storyboarding now. Okay. So what you guys are going to need to do is you're going to need to choose one character. Okay. So choose one of the characters, preferably a simpler character because you're going to draw it multiple times. So something that's a little bit easier to draw. Like, for example, I may just go with this guy right here because I like the attitude of the character, and they're one big simple shape.
Yeah.
But when you guys could choose your character that you want to use, but be sure to choose one that is simple, one of the simpler ones that you have. Okay. Because we're gonna do some shots, meaning some framing of the character. So we're gonna go over just our basic shots, right? Our wide, our long, our medium, our close up, and we're going to be drawing our characters in those 4 shots. And I'm going to be talking about them as well. Okay. So what I'm going to do, so, is I'm actually going to take this character and have it still here. And my other characters, they're going to go, bye-bye. Okay. Here we go. Okay. So we're going to get into doing some storyboarding. Okay. And we're going to keep it super simple. We're going to have 2 exercises that we're going to do. One exercise involves us drawing our characters and a couple different shots. Another exercise involves us doing a simple 4-panel storyboard. Okay, so there's going to be a simple prompt, and we're going to put our character in that position of the picture that I'm going to show you. So I'm going to show you a visual picture of someone doing something. We're going to put our character in that place, and you're going to then draw a storyboard based off of what you feel or what you think logically is going to happen next. And I'm going to explain a little bit more when we get there, but we're going to take it back a notch and we're just going to talk about our basic shot selections. Okay. So with storyboarding, we have a variety of different shots. I'm going to go over the basic shots. And you notice when you watch a film is made up of a wide variety of shot selections to make a sequence or to make the film, right? So we have, in each shot has its own specific characteristic, right? Its own feeling, right? So a wide shot as opposed to a close-up shot, they both give different pieces of information. They both give a different feeling, right? And the combination of these shots will make a sequence, right? So let's first talk about our wide shot, okay? So our wide shot right here, you can see a character. The camera is not as close to the character. It's actually quite far away. We can see a little bit more of the background, right? And the wide shot is not to be confused with our establishing shot. Okay, so we have an establishing shot right here. And I'm just going to jump back to the wide shot. The wide shot shows the relationship between the character and the environment, right? The character, we can clearly see the character in the environment, but we're not super close to the character where the environment is not as important. They're equal. So, for example, on this one up here, we have Mr. Incredible. He's lifting weights. He's actually lifting carts. We have Rapunzel. She's playing with the lanterns, and we have I forget this character from Big Hero 6. I actually blanking on his name, but he's given a presentation, right? I know everyone in the chat is going to yell out his name, but basically we have him giving a presentation and we see the audience, okay? So the wide shot is the character, the relationship with the environment. So we're seeing the character, we're not close up on the character, but we can see the character doing something in the environment versus establishing shot, which often everyone gets confused. Establishing shot establishes where the story is taking place, right? Where is this scene going to take place? So we have an establishing shot. And Tangled, right? This scene is going to be taking place during the daytime. It's in this, I guess we could say, town, right? And in this bottom one, we have basically this train station, right? Or I guess we can call it the train station. And it's not so much focused on the character, although the character's in there, but it's the atmosphere. What's going on in this scene, right? Where are we? Okay. So we have our wide shot. And what I'm going to get you guys to do is I'm going to set a timer. I'm going to get you guys to draw your character in a wide shot. Okay. I'm going to start this drawing off first, and then you guys will follow. So I'm going to do a little bit of drawing, and then you guys watch, and I'm just going to get you guys to jump in. Okay. So, and feel free if you want to change a little bit of things with your character, you can, but I'm just going to start. So first thing, I want to make sure I have my frame. If you think of it, your frame is like the universe. It contains your composition. Without the frame, your eye just goes all over the place. Okay, so you want to make sure you have your frame there. Okay, and you get it nice and dark. Okay. Again, we're going to keep this super simple. I'm just going to draw. Again, with storyboard, you don't want to get into all this detail. You just want to get the idea and make sure that it's clear. I'm just thinking of this guy in some sort of restaurant.
It's worth pointing out too that Josh's experience is on display here because look at how he's starting out. Look at how he's filling up the frame. Large shapes, big shapes. What's going on in terms of shape? And he's not going toward in the direction of details and of colors and tones, and he's just trying to. It's like he's dividing it up. How big is the area that the character is standing in? Basically, that the size actually says something. Think if you think of a storyboard frame like a sentence, and you answer a few questions in that sentence. Where is the character? What is the character doing? What are they looking at? And what is the event?
In this case, my character is deciding what to eat. They're at a restaurant and they're like, what am I going to eat here? There's so many options. Right? All right, so you guys can jump in. I want you to choose one character that you've drawn, and you're going to place them in a wide shot, okay? So as you can see, I have my character. What is he doing? He's trying to figure out what he wants to eat. Right, where is he? He's in a restaurant. Okay. So go ahead. I'm going to give you guys, let's go 3 minutes. Okay. Keep your drawing loose and quick and use big shapes. Okay. Big shapes.
Oh, by the way, thank you to Helena Hiro Yamanda. There's your name.
Hero. Yes, that's what it was.
Yeah.
I was gonna say Shihiro. But that sounds Spirited Away.
Actually, Josh, the year before you took the class, what was her name? Michelle, I think, took APW. A year before Josh did, and then eventually got hired at Disney. And for the last few years, actually, I don't even know if the Big Hero. For a while, there was a Big Hero 6 TV production. Maybe it only lasted a season. Maybe I don't know if it's even still a thing, but they were working on that.
I remember. Yeah, I know another person.
Maria, pardon me, not Michelle.
Maria.
Yeah, Maria. And so, looking at Maria's Instagram of all the sketches of all the characters, it's kind of fun to watch.
All right, guys. So we have 1 more minute on this drawing. Okay. Again, keep it simple. Right. So even though I have a background there, notice how I'm dividing it in simple shapes, right? So I have this large shape for the counter, and then for the menu at top, I have this kind of rectangular shape, the person at the cash register. And there, this circular shape in my character is this square shape with their big nose, right? But notice how simple the setup is. Okay. And that's what you want to do. You don't want to go into too much detail. If you look at storyboards for films, you're going to notice they're like very loose, rough, messy, full of action, right? They give the feeling of what's happening, right? And you see how Vince drew a little, I think it's a rhomboid or a rectangular shape with the taper. I mean, it's tapering toward the top, but there's
Yeah.
space there. There's enough space for this character here, right? So I left just enough space for the character to act, right? There's negative space around the character. Okay. All right. So let's move on to our next shot right here. So what we're going to do is the character is not going to change its place. They're not going to change their pose. We're just going to zoom in. Okay. Keep zooming in. All right. Now, you know, our wide. So we have our wide. Now we're going to go full shot. Okay. And with the full shot now, we're closer into the character, right? Now this is more focused on the action. What is the character doing? A little bit, it's less of the background. The background is not as important, although we can see the background fairly clear. We have this scene right here where Frozone, is it Frozone or yeah, he's he was going on a date, and then he's running through the living room, and then he stops, he notices that like a big explosion is happening outside of his house, and then he goes into his famous line of "Where's my super suit?" Right, and then this bottom one is Kronk and Yzma running through the jungle. So it's more focused on the action. It's more focused on the character, right? So as opposed to our wide shot where we see a lot more of the background, right? And we see the character within the environment. They're doing something with the environment. The full shot, which is pretty much we see the full body of the character, focuses on more on the action, focuses more on the character. Okay. What is the character doing? Right? We can see more of their expression too. So let's go ahead and we're going to take that shot. So I have my wide shot right here. I'm just going to take that. I'm going to make it a little bit smaller. And I'm going to crop into it now. Okay, so instead of it being this wide, I may just focus on that, right? So ignoring everything else and just focusing on the character thinking. Okay, so let's go ahead. I'm going to set another timer. We're going to go 3 minutes. So you're going to redraw this. Okay, so start by drawing your frame. Again, get your frame nice and dark. And we're going to draw our character in the same position. Now, the difference is we're just closer on the character. Again, keep your drawing loose. Keep your frame gestural. You don't want to get into details. Notice how I'm drawing large shapes. And we have a little bit more information as to the character's action and expression. A bit more focus on this character. So I'm going to give you guys 1 more minute. 1 more minute to draw your character. Right, and again, don't change what the character is doing. Keep them the same position. We're just zooming in. Okay. All right. So once you have that, we're going to move on. Okay? So we're going to move on to our next shot. Okay. And we're going to move a little bit quicker because we're running a little bit low on time. So there we go. So we have our full shot and we're going to move to our medium shot. Okay. So in a second, I'm just going to make this smaller, make some room. Now our medium shot, right? So our full body shot or a full shot showcases the full body. And we can see the character. We can see the character in action, what they're doing. There's more focus on the character. Now, the medium shot is shot from roughly around the waist up. And you can see a lot more expression of the character. You can see more emotion, but we're not too close. There's just enough room for the character to still act with their hand. Okay. But mostly like with the characters, like these two characters right here, we can see them stationary and Baymax waving, and we can see this guy looks super tired. This guy kind of noticing, looking up, gonna say something to him, right? It's not the whole body's not needed. Okay, so we're gonna draw this one. So draw our character within this shot right here. So I want to give you guys 3 minutes. Okay, and we're gonna draw our character in a medium shot. So basically, we're gonna zoom in like that. Okay.
Now, like Josh is saying, commonly, if you're going to go through this sequence here, a very wide shot followed by a full shot that shows the whole character, wide shot, the character in a setting, a little bit closer, just the character's body with a little bit of space above, a little bit of space below, followed by this shot. Often what people will do, they'll have a reason for going to a slightly closer shot in order to show either that the character is exactly the same and that's important, or that the character is like we're going to notice now what facial expression is there. We could notice it before, but now it's the main event. It's the main thing that's happening in this shot. These shots are all meant to. They're like words within a sentence, and they, you know, some of them are verbs, some of them are adjectives, and so on. But they help you to talk about something happening, some event, even if it's as simple as someone standing in front of a sign, looking up and being confused. Each one of these shots can elaborate a little bit on that.
Yeah. And each shot has its own power, right? The close-up shot, the wide shot, they each tell their own story. Right? And you can see as we're zooming in, as what Vince is saying, right? The wide shot has its own characteristic that's different than the full shot. That's different than the medium shot. And our next shot, actually, which what we're going to get into actually right now. So we won't have time for our last exercise, but I'm going to open the floor later for you guys to showcase your drawings. Okay, so let's go ahead and get into our last shot. Okay, the last shot being the close-up. So the close-up now is our motion teller. So we can see the motion of the character very clear. And the information giver. So I included a couple of shots that are not of an actual person's face, but of a hand or an object, right? Because with this shot right here, we're saying this is important. Look at this, right? This is going to be seen later on, or pay attention here, right? Same thing with this right here, the guitar pick that Kubo has, and it's glowing, right? We want to get a closer look because if we had a if we had a wide shot, we wouldn't be focusing on this. We wouldn't see the blue or the subtlety or the importance of this guitar pick or the importance of this red light, right? So with the close up on the face, we can see how pretty angry Yzma is, furious, right? So the close up is an emotion teller or information giver. So we're giving some sort of information as to what the character is feeling, or the importance of an object or something in a shot. Okay, whatever it may be. So let's go ahead and draw our close-up shot. Okay, so feel free, and I'm going to leave this open to you. Feel free to zoom in on whatever you like on the character. Like, for example, maybe I zoom in on the nose. Maybe there's something hanging out of the character's nose. Like, you know, like SpongeBob or Ren and, you guys are probably too young for Ren and Stimpy, but how they always zoom in and there's always something really disgusting. Or if you just want to zoom in into the character's face, that's fine. The expression the character has, that's perfectly fine. But we're going close up on something, okay? So I'm actually just gonna zoom in on.
This is becoming. I don't know if you meant it this way, Josh, but this little sequence here is turning into a really effective kind of a commercial for,
Yeah.
say, I don't know, Harvey's or for Tim Hortons, where if you go and you stand in front of the sign, it gives you all kinds of anxiety. Like we keep going closer and closer on this character. And
Yeah, now that I'm
they look
close, I'm
very
gonna draw a little bit of
anxious.
sweat marks. And his character is like trying to decide what to eat, and he's getting a little bit anxious. Right, so now I'm sweating. Actually, I can even go closer if I wanted to. If I want to build a little bit more tension, I can go closer, and then we can see like the little sweat dripping down the character's face. So feel free if you're drawing the character and you're like, oh, I can go a little bit closer. Feel free to, right? I think I might raise. Okay. All right. And
I
this is
love
our
this. The pressure's on. It's menu anxiety.
yeah. It's like sweating bullets. Maybe what I can do now they have everything. Maybe there's like a pool of sweat underneath the character. Maybe that's the now this becomes see how this something as simple as this you can make a story out of it like a simple sequence and I can actually see this in an animation where this character is up next to order their food they don't know what to get and now they're sweating bullets or they're just sweating so much that they have a pool of sweat underneath them and they can't even get a single word out of their mouth. So here we are. We have a wide shot, a full shot. Our medium shot is less tense. There's less tension in the medium shot. And we got our close-up shot. I can even go and frame it closer, right? Give even more tension. But those are our four like basic shots, okay? Um, so with this exercise right here and this character exercise that we're doing, we kind of just went with the flow of it. We drew a character from a shape, then we took the character and we put it into a storyboard, simple storyboard, right? Characters doing one action and we keep zooming in. Um, and you can see how we could take this further. Like something like this, we could take it even further. Like how I immediately, as I saw this character sweating, I'm like, I can make a storyboard out of this, right? And I think the big thing is starting. A lot of us have a hard time starting these things because we get intimidated by the paper, the blank sheet of paper, right? And even with these storyboard drawings, these are thumbnail drawings, small, quick thumbnail drawings, where you don't put too much time and thought into them. You just do them, and you do the whole bunch of them, and that's like the beginning stage of any development, right? Where you're drawing, whether it's characters, storyboards, layouts, the thumbnail is going to be the important in it, and making strong thumbnails. So, for example, if I was to continue with this right here, continue drawing this and turning this into a whole sequence, right? I would redraw some of these shots. I'll redraw all of them, right? Because I didn't put so much time into drawing what you see here. I just drew them out and then I can explore and see is there other avenues I can go down, other possibilities, right? So with this exercise, right, it's wide open. It's just the surface, and you can go way more deeper into something like this. Okay. Let's have you guys. We're gonna cut it here in terms of exercise, but let's have some of you guys show what you've created. We have
I
Anna.
see. Yeah, I see Anna's storyboard here. It's very existential, apparently.
I like it. Character waiting on the bench, waiting for the bus.
Yeah, that's
Awesome.
great. Well done.
Awesome. So you guys can put yours into um the chat. So guys, like I'm hoping that you guys got some great stuff out of this session. You guys all did wonderful in your drawings. I'm actually looking through the chat right now and looking at some of the storyboards that you guys are creating there. And I see a cookie idea, which is pretty cute. Right? And,
Okay, I'm going to make a suggestion here. What we're looking at right now with the wide, the full, the medium, and the close, It's a character sitting on what surface is the character sitting on? Is it like a bench or something? Obviously, it's an urban setting. There are buildings, windows, office buildings, and it's raining in the final frame. What we weren't able to get to today, each of you can do. Choose one of the frames that you've done that really, really, it says what you want it to say. A lonely character sitting on a bench in an urban setting. And then that's your frame number one. Now, in Pixar, one of their training tools for story artists is 5 from 1. So you take one frame and then you develop a storyboard that has 5 frames long. But it's all from the information gained in that one first drawing. And that's where Josh was going to go with this. I mean, there's just so much to do, right? There's so much to talk about. But you guys could probably just do that on your own. Like just choose one of the 4 frames that you really, really like that says what you want it to say, and use that as frame number 1 and build the other 4 frames. And it could be a very useful and helpful process for you to go through. Now that you've got a little bit of language, right? If you want to see the characters crying and there's a little tear, bang, close up time. If you want to see that the character is standing in front of a vast hole in like a sinkhole in a road or something, then you could do something else. You could change your camera angle. You could go from eye level, bring your camera way up so that it's looking down, and you could use those types of tools. But this might be a good opportunity to take what you've done, some really good work. Like seriously, there's some really great stuff that you guys have produced, and do this 5 from 1 idea where you just develop these frames into a 5-frame event. Doesn't even have to be hilarious or sad, or it just something happens, and you'll get a good sense of where to go with it.
Yeah, just like this is the beginning, like what I was describing. This is like the beginning. I can go deeper into this interaction right here, or and storyboard. Come up with something simple to say like what's going to happen next, right?
Yeah. Well, I just saw this statement here. Sorry, Josh. To an extent, they're both ways of planning animation. Like the question is, storyboarding similar to creating an animatic? You could say there is no such thing as an animatic without storyboarding. In fact, if like an animatic grows naturally, it's just basically taking a storyboard and filming each one and adding the element, which we're missing here, the element of timing. So if you want to hang around for a long time on a shot, you can do that on an animatic, and then just cut to a very punchy close up of a hand reaching for something. It brings the element of time. So it's a whole lot of fun. And I should say this as well, that these things that we're doing today, they're just taken right out of exactly what we do in the workshop. Like all of the things that Josh is talking about, every single one of them, it happens within the context of doing all kinds of other drawing. So you're able to kind of approach this with, I guess, the benefit of learning to draw in perspective, or learning to draw geometric forms, or gesture drawings of people and poses and from observation. And they all seem to come together in a very unique way in the storyboard, because it does have an element of it's from something, like from a shape. And then it also has an element of it's from like crazy ideas that people have, that just seem to come up out of nowhere. But this is part of what we do in the workshop, this exact exercise many times over, just to get that feeling of understanding what a storyboard looks like, what its purpose is, and how it's just like a sentence. And if you want to say a different kind of a sentence, Maybe you use different shots or different types of angles. Um, I I just want to say thank you. Like you guys have done great work.
Well, thank you, everyone. Thanks, guys. And it was great to see all your drawings and you drawing along with us. We, Vince, did you have anything else you wanted to add before we wrap things
Well,
up?
yeah, I mean, I guess I'm just looking at some of the questions and statements. Um, no, it's not really a question.
Hmm.
Well, it is a question. Sometimes I struggle with expressing the emotion I would like in a storyboard frame. This is from Yera. Hope I'm pronouncing that correctly. Um, um, yeah, how can I improve in that aspect? So struggling with the expressing the emotion I would like in a storyboard frame. That comes entirely, completely, 100% from drawing.
Yeah.
Yeah, like really, when you think about it, if you're going to build, if you're going to build a story, um, you're going to do it in little pieces, and what we're looking at today is every piece is one storyboard frame. Um, and when you do that, you are now forced to rely on what you've given yourself, like what's in the storehouse. You know what I mean? And if it's there, okay, you can go ahead and use it. And if you're not clear on it, then this is where your question comes in. Then what do you do about it? Like, okay, if I want to put more emotion, I would say that's drawing people. Like draw people in your house. Draw like go to a Tim Hortons and draw people. Go to attend like life drawing sessions and draw people there. If you do that a lot, you'll find that you'll begin to understand how the position of the body, the tilt of the head, um, the pose can go a long way to expressing emotion. There are
Yeah,
other factors, of course. Go ahead,
I'll add
Josh.
one
Yeah.
more thing,
Yeah.
Vince. Even just drawing, like, so for example, the shots that I have right here, like if you're thinking about expressing a specific shot, going back to what Vince said, drawing, thumbnailing, taking your storyboards and no, not just settling with this one shot, the first shot that you've drawn.
Yeah.
Draw four more
Yeah.
of them,
Yeah.
different angles, all close up, but different angles. And you're going to see that the position, the change of the position of the character in the camera may give a different feeling,
Yeah.
right? Give a different expression. So going back to just what Vince is saying, drawing, that's the key thing. Not settling with your first shot that you drew out. Go back and do a whole bunch of variations, thumbnail it out, try different things, and be a mad scientist. Actually, experiment and try new things, and you may discover things that you like, and you may discover things that you don't like, and it's not good or bad, but it's part of the process, right? So going through that, that's going to help you also express the shots that you want when you're storyboarding.
Oh, and I should also say too that we'll put the video for this up, and we'll basically contact everyone who registered, even the people who weren't able to make it, and who might have missed out on this. Because it's a good start, isn't it? Like start with a character, place it in a number of different shots: a wide shot, a full shot, a medium shot, a close up shot, and that's kind of a good a good push, a good beginning into this whole telling a story side of things in storyboarding. So this will be this will get uploaded, and it'll be there for you to look at, refer to, go back and maybe listen to certain ideas that Josh was talking about that you thought were really great that you could use. So we'll make sure that that's up. And if anyone, if you're thinking this is great, I'm going to use all this stuff, good, then use it. Great, we're totally happy to provide all this stuff for you. It's a pleasure. If you're thinking you're kind of interested in talking to someone maybe about joining an APW class, that's okay too. You'll be able to an email will come that has a little bit more, some more resources. The YouTube link for this, some other resources, and one of them can be a doorway if you're interested into asking some questions about, registering for a course. So all in all, I just think this was just really great. Like from designing characters from a squiggle and a shape to someone experiencing food anxiety, food ordering anxiety in a Tim Hortons or wherever this is with a monster at the cache. I think this is a really good session, and my only thing that I'm only sorry that we didn't get a chance to see and talk about everyone's drawings. But thank you, each of you, for your honest work. Really appreciate it.
Yep, it's been a pleasure drawing with you guys and coming up with fun characters and drawing them in a simple scenario and going through just the basic shots. It's been a very fun process, and just looking at my storyboard or my drawings, I can only see that this can just keep going further, going deeper. So let's say if you, like what Vince is saying, if you draw on something that you enjoy and you want to build on it, feel free to just go ahead, expand on this world that you're creating, right, or this scenario that's happening. Thank you, everyone. And stay tuned, because every month we'll have one of these talks or a lesson going on. So stay tuned for our next event happening in June.
Yes.
There's no specific date, but if you keep your ears open and your eyes peeled, then just listen out for when that happens.
Absolutely. Thanks everyone. Appreciate your work. Good luck. Make loads of storyboards.